and welcome to Cricbuzz Live. I'm Saiyami Kher. Well, it's a green day today because South Africa take on Bangladesh at Wankhede. One green is sitting pretty at number 3. The other green needs some watering, some sunlight to come up that points table. Well, both teams were wondering if their captains are going to be free and fit today. But we've got someone who's completely fit back in the studio. Please welcome Harsha Bhogle. Welcome back.
And the other green can't get a game for Australia because Toynes is playing.
But along with Harsha,
people will start saying life was much better when he wasn't there.
We've got Mr. Bhattacharya, who's been with us. He's always fit, running on the treadmill and getting fitter by the day.
Did we have to bring that up?
And we've got Harsha, who's looking much leaner and fitter. So we're very happy to have you back.
This leaner is actually a very interesting word. It's a very polite form of thinner.
But it's leaner is always nicer.
Harsha,
it's
nice.
cut.
Lean, mean fighting machine. That's
correct.
what you want.
Yeah.
Okay,
But
I'll
I
be
am
mean
very
today.
curious to understand is every time you come back to the studio, the night before there's an upset. The last time you came on the screens, there was an upset and England lost. Yesterday, Pakistan lost. So what is with you and getting upsets?
I don't know. I was watching the game yesterday. I watched almost every ball and I could not believe what I was watching. I'll be honest. I've watched Pakistan for a long time. Right from the mid-80s, I've watched Pakistan. The only time I've seen them as insipid as this was in the first game of the 2017 Champions Trophy. I remember I was in Birmingham. They were in the same hotel. And I was sitting at breakfast alone the next day and just listening to all the Pakistan office bearers and everybody. And you would have thought that all 16 were going to be sent back home. They went back and won the Champions Trophy. So never write off Pakistan. But yeah, there's an interesting debate going around the cricket world. Can you call it an upset?
Yeah, true. I've been reading about it, but
I think it is.
Whatever said and done, the reactions on the Afghani faces, it meant so much to them as well. So
yeah, because there's also political history between them. If you notice, Ibrahim Zadran said at when he got his player of the match that this is dedicated to people who were sent back from Pakistan to Afghanistan. So you're never too far from a political statement between those two. They've come close. It was 7-0. It was 7-0 before this. But to me, the definition of an upset is when a team that is expected to win does not win. And I thought the only way Afghanistan could have won was the way they beat England. Bat first, put runs, and apply the squeeze with their spinners. I thought that was a fabulous toss to win for Pakistan. I thought they scored enough runs, but they batted and bowled, and the third arm was invisible. It was comical. It was embarrassing the way they fielded yesterday.
Yes.
Harsha, you said somewhere that apparently they haven't had a fitness test for some 2 years.
I heard Wasim Bhai said they haven't had a fitness test for 2 years. I am absolutely convinced Shaheen Shah Afridi is not fit. I'm convinced from the way he's moving in the field and generally he's moving around. I saw Hassan Ali in the field. I saw Afridi in the field.
Imamul Haq on the field.
Well, Shaheen Shah Afridi, according to Harsha and according to Wasim, is not fit. But somebody who we know for sure is not fit today is Bavuma because he's not come out of the toss. Markram comes out of the toss. So, well, they won't complain considering how it went for South Africa in the last game. But Bavuma is someone that they will miss. They've won the toss. They've decided to bat first.
I'm feeling bad for Bavuma because, he was described by his friends as the little Tendulkar in his locality. So if the little Tendulkar didn't, he won't get a chance to play the Wankhede, which is unfortunate unless they make the semi-final that happens out.
Unless it's an India-South Africa semi-final at the Wankhede.
On the 15th.
But what a replacement. This Reza Hendricks, if you've been following his career, he's been scoring runs for a long time. And the only reason he's not actually in the first 11 here is that is the only place they could play Bavuma. And Bavuma has been absolutely fantastic for South Africa over the last sort of 12 months or so. But that's the only place they could play Bavuma. And so poor Reza Hendricks lost out. And when he comes back, what does he do? He gets a 70.
But Harsha, I remember when we started Cricbuzz Live before the World Cup, very grudgingly people had South Africa as the team to watch out for. It was not in anyone's top 4 at all, but they've said we will prove a point, and they've come back and had such dominant wins this World Cup, be it against Australia, be it against Sri Lanka, be it against England, massive margins, except of course the Netherlands game. So what, according to you, stands out for South Africa in this World Cup?
You look at the way they played in 2019. Remember 2019, Joy? You looked at South Africa and you said, who are these impersonators who've turned up? With all these false names on their shirt backs. Then 2020, they came to India around then, 2021, and I've never seen a South African side that looked a lesser fighting unit. South Africa have lost before, but there are no easy games ever against South Africa. And that is why I said South Africa as a talent pool is drying up. I got a lot of grief from a lot of people. I asked people, where are the young talent? Throw me some names so I can follow names. Not a single name came up. They've got 2 names only have come up. These are the same players. They're playing better. Rabada's playing better. Ngidi started to play a lot better. Markram, who was down in the dumps, is starting to play better. David Miller, who couldn't score a run to save his life, has started playing better. I think there's a huge factor in there. I'm not asked the players. I think that factor is Temba Bavuma. And I think he's just controlling the side. He's leading it really well. I remember in Dubai during the T20 World Cup, when de Kock did something that was slightly immature, he handled that situation very well. My feeling is that Bavuma has just taken the pressure off everybody. It's not a side that plays well under pressure, but they've got 2 very good young players who are coming through, Marco Jansen and Gerard Kudziya. Because I thought they'll miss, one of the reasons I didn't have them is I thought they'll miss Nokia. And Kudziya is not allowing them to miss Nokia.
But Joyda, like Harsha is saying, there's something that's changed entirely, and Bavuma is someone who always addresses the elephant in the room, if I can say, because when he got into the World Cup, he spoke about how, yes, we've got the tag of the chokers and we will talk about it because you can't escape it. After their loss to Netherlands, they said, we can't not just brush this off as, okay, it's just another loss. We will address it. So he's somebody who very calmly addresses things. Do you think that's the change for South Africa?
I think 2 things. Definitely that's the thing, because I think he was temperamentally always the right captain for South Africa. But till about a year back, he was not getting the respect he deserved as captain because his performances on the field were not good enough. His coming up and performing on the field as well meant that not only is this a captain who's mature, this is a captain I respect as a player. Because otherwise you don't want to be the guy in the side where the other guys are looking and saying, this guy, had it not been for a particular system in South Africa right now, would not be playing in the first 11. So I think now that he's addressed that, even when he speaks with a different voice. And Harsha is absolutely right that this is old wine in new bottles. These are the same players. It's just that they have suddenly started performing.
Very good wine there.
And they do make
So they just rebottled it. They made some very good wine.
Well, we'll have a look at the points table, because I just want to understand, Joyda, if you can explain this, is why is Bangladesh where they are? They're at number 7. They've been playing the World Cup since 99. I just, feels like they haven't grown as a team since then.
So actually, they've not done badly in the World Cup. The 2019 World Cup, they beat 3 teams. They played pretty well. I mean, Shakib had to stand out here. But if you look after that, what Bangladesh has been doing is, in their own conditions, or against smaller sides, they've been dominant. So if you see, most of their matches has been against Zimbabwe. They've beaten Zimbabwe, I think, 7 times out of 9. They've beaten Afghanistan. They've beaten West Indies a lot of times, 8 times out of 8. Whenever they've gone to the New Zealand, they've got hammered. They played against India, they won 2-1. I mean, it was one of those series. But mostly when they've gone up against top sides, they have lost. So again, they're playing their template. Afghanistan is a good matchup for them. They got them early in the tournament. They got them all out, in the 150s, 160s, finished off the match. But after that, whenever they came against opposition, which was of a slightly higher level, they're struggling. So, I mean, that is the problem with them. They're unable, with this current dispensation, to elevate their game to the next level.
One of the things you see with teams is, are talents that you see and think, wow, he's going to be a really good player. Are those talents becoming the players they can be? We saw that with that great batch of 2007, where Mushfiqur Rahim became the best player he could be. Shakib became the best player he could be. Tamim became a very good player. Mashrafi Murtuza became a very good player. Thereafter, who is the genuine world-class player that Bangladesh has produced? We're talking 16 years. We thought there would be many. Mustafizur Rahman we call him the Fizz, but he's actually fizzling a little bit. I like him very much as a bowler. Hopefully he'll come back. Mahmudullah didn't become the player that we thought he would. Mohammad Ashraful collapsed for various other reasons. I thought Liton Das, I think he's plateauing. He needs to be very careful. He's a fabulous player. Liton Das is plateauing. Now they need people like Shanto and Mehdi Hassan Miraj, who are the two new hopes coming through. What happened to Ibadat Hussain? He was a good fast bowler. He's gone. But they've got a good crop.
Sohag Ghazi.
Yeah.
Century and
So
hat-trick in the same
yeah.
match. Gone.
So Shariful looks a decent bowler. They've got to get Tuskin on the field more often. But more than anything else, I think they've got to take emotion out of their game.
Can I say one thing? I genuinely feel that sometimes Bangladesh cricket is a little bit like Indian football. And by that I say, I feel it's over hyped for what it gives. So what happens is Liton can be a Liton and he's already a superstar. And in that country, he's a superstar. Okay. But he does not, therefore, he's not going on to the next level. And I think that's a huge problem that you have. That those, already they're so big, they're already getting the respect and the coolness and everything, and they're playing in leagues. They're not taking it to the next level of excellence. And I think that's a huge problem. And they keep see, a lot of countries don't tour very much in Bangladesh. So the teams that are touring, they manage to beat, even India, they manage to beat in home conditions. And then they're okay. So the point is, nobody's going to address that elephant in the room, which, as I said, South Africa seems to have addressed. And things as usual. Why? Look, if Mahmudullah is supposed to play in this World Cup, he should have played throughout. Suddenly, he's an afterthought. You haven't played him at all. Suddenly, you put him in. Then if you're putting him in, you're putting him in at 8. And while I know that regard him as a finisher, 8 is the 8th position for him. I mean, so it seems like somebody has said that, no, Mahmudullah is a good player. We must have him in the team. And therefore, he's been accommodated.
Yeah,
well, the good news, I feel...
Yeah, some years ago, 2-3 years ago, they came to India and there was this opener and I kept asking Athar about him. I said, where has he come from? Because he looked so good. His name was Mohammad Naeem. Gone. Not even in the squad. So
well, the good news, Harsha, I feel, is we've spoken about how there are people who've just gone away, but the star player and star captain is back for Bangladesh. We'll have a look at Bangladesh's playing 11. So just that one change because Shakib comes in. We spoke about Hridoy when off camera, so he stays out. Any surprise there for you, Joy?
It's for me, it's a very brave call because what you've basically done is, yes, Shakib is a batsman. So Shakib has taken the place of Hridoy and Shakib definitely is a better batsman than Hridoy. But what's happened is they've kept Naseem Ahmed there. That means on a pitch that is, the Wankhede is not kind to spinners.
Yes.
Shakib is a really good spinner. You're playing two left-arm spinners and you have left-arm batsmen of the quality of Quinton de Kock in this 11.
And David Miller.
And David Miller. It's a very brave decision. But
Yeah.
I think the way they're looking at it is saying, let's go with our best. If our best is left-arm spinners, let's go with a left-arm spinner.
Okay.
It's an interesting call, tight call, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it
He can bat, but he's batting at 8 and then suddenly are down to Fiz, Shariful and Hassan Mahmood.
Yeah, none of whom.
So Naseem Ahmed has to bat. He's batting at 8. Mahmudullah has moved up to 7. But they've got enough bowling, but it's all spin. Mehdi Hassan Miraj, Shakibul Hassan, Naseem Ahmed. So there's a lot of spin. And Mustafizur taking pace off, which is not always easy if it is a typical Wankhede wicket.
Well, it's sure going to be a test for them. So we'll have a look at South Africa's playing 11 because like we know, they have a really power-packed batting lineup. So just that one change for them where Williams comes in. But when we look at the batting, now with what Jansen did in the last game, they just have a very deep batting lineup, Harsha.
Lizard Williams has come in for Lungisani Ngidi.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ngidi is doing a fabulous job for them with the new ball. So Lizard Williams has to do that job for the new ball because he's allowing Kagiso Rabada, much like Alan Donald used to later in his career, to come and bowl behind the new ball, and he is bowling beautifully. One of the reasons South Africa are doing so well is Rabada started to bowl very well. It's also allowing Kudzir to play the role that Nokia was meant to play in the middle overs. So Lizard Williams will have to bowl really well. I'm assuming he'll get the new ball. But that batting lineup is... I mean, we're all lamenting England.
Yes.
Right? We're saying, where has England gone? Where has that great England side under Owen Morgan gone? They're playing this World Cup. They're wearing South Africa shirts. They're wearing South Africa shirts. Look how they're playing. They're making 400 runs. 399 one day, 427 the one day. Don't worry too much about... Well, they're different from England. Don't worry too much about the power play. But they always have a set batter at the end. That Klaasen, that is what India want from Sky, by the way. India wants Sky to play that role, the role that Klaasen is playing. So there's Klaasen, there's Miller. If Markram is still batting there, he got about a 48 ball 100. The other day, Markram got a 48 ball 100.
Fastest, yeah.
So they've got somebody the other to finish. And then that big windmill comes in.
Jansen.
The big windmill, hands and legs. He just comes in and starts clobbering.
But Joy, very interesting graphic there, because like Harsha was talking about, don't worry about the power play. They clearly have a method to their madness, because they take it easy, they make sure they have wickets intact, and then when we see the last power play, they go completely crazy in the last power play.
No, absolutely. And that's it. The power that they have in that last 10 overs is something absolutely amazing. And because they have the aggressors up front. See, it's a rare batting side which England in its pomp used to have. Aggressors up front and finishers at the back. You have them both. And that basically means that you're covering both angles. I mean, somebody like a De Kock will go hard up front. Miller and Jansen will finish it up for you out there. And I think that's their strength. Also, they're all of them have been in form in India over the last 2-3 years. They've all been playing the IPL. They all know these conditions really well. I mean, Quinton de Kock has probably played more matches in here than most other cricketers have. So, if you look at that plus point, they have a huge plus there.
So, Quinton de Kock, Aidan Markram, Heinrich Klaassen, David Miller. So, Rassi is the only one. He just played a couple of games last year. Rabada, Ngidi. They've all come. Jansen. They've all come and played here. So they're really playing on.
Jansen would have trained with them. I mean, he didn't play too many matches that year.
They scouted him for 2 years, and
but you know, Harsha, you've spoken about Jansen. We were chatting about how he came in. Virat Kohli saw him in the nets. You've seen the growth of this player called Jansen. He's in his last match. We saw what he did. 42 ball, 75 runs that he got. So he comes and finishes it off so well. Jansen's spoken about how he really enjoys batting. He used to, when he was younger, open bat. So he takes a lot of pride in batting.
Both brothers bat well.
Yes.
Juan and Marco, both brothers bat well. There must be something about fast bowlers bowling to India in the nets. India go to Australia, Haris Rao bowls in the nets. Next thing they know, he's playing for Pakistan. Marco Jansen comes in and bowls. Next thing they know, he's playing for Mumbai Indians. Next thing they know, he's playing for South Africa. But you know, South Africa has had this great tradition of seam bowling all-rounders. Even, I mean, forget going as far back as Clive Rice and Mike Proctor and Garth LaRue and those people. But even thereafter, Sean Pollock, Lance Klusener, Jacques Kallis, they've always, Brian McMillan, they've always had those players. Even the fringe players like a Ryan McLaren or a Pretorius, they've always had those players. And all of a sudden that dried up. Marco Jansen is now the only one who's doing that. Jansen is really doing the Pandya role. Because if Jansen doesn't play, then they've got to play Pekluwayo, who they've tried for a while. He's an honest player, tries hard, but he's not been proven to be in this league yet. So Jansen plays such a big role, but I'm amazed. I see his batting come on in such a big way. And then, of course, if you're 6 foot too many, you stand on the boundary and keep plucking them off like Pollard used to.
Yeah.
The only reason Pekluklaya is not picked more often is because I can't pronounce his name. So when they write it down, they probably say, wait, we'll do that. No, Jansen is easier.
No, but like Harsha was saying, he's the Hardik to their team. You know, Jansen, the batter. Let's talk about that, because South Africa's batting first. He's spoken about how, you know, he's technically not the prettiest, and I find it really cute when someone says, you know, I'm not the prettiest technically, but I know I'm very impactful, is what Jansen said.
I mean, I actually feel he's okay technically. He's not the prettiest, because if you're 6'9" and have those long arms and legs.
6'9", how can you be pretty in anything that you do if you're 6'9"?
I know, exactly.
Or 8 or 7, how does it matter at that level?
I just remember there's one shot he hit, I think, in the previous match, where he went on the back foot, went there, and he smashed the ball for 6 over the bowler's head. And, you know, we looked at Virat hitting a shot close to that against Harris Ruff, and you wonder where you hit it. And this here, it was easy for him because his levers are so long. He's got so much, leverage out here. So that ability is absolutely, it's God-given. And if he performs at that level, that means they have two very able all-rounders there. Because don't forget, just as he's the all-rounder, Markram is probably not the bowler Jadeja is under any conditions, but he's definitely a much better batsman. So you've got now two solid all-rounders, and he's exactly gone back to the South African tradition of normally whenever they played, two decent all-rounders, and both of them seam bowling all-rounders.
And there Simcox and Nicky Boyer, remember?
Correct.
In their glory years, they could bat anywhere. They could bat anywhere. But Jansen in those last 10 overs when England bowlers were sleep running in, if they were, otherwise they were sleepwalking, literally, they were gone in the Mumbai weather. So I just wonder, I think DK said something very interesting in his pitch report. He says the pitch favors South Africa, the weather might favor Bangladesh, but it's a great call to bat first. It's something England should have done. So they'll bat first and then get fresh
And we
bowlers.
know what they do when they bat first. They've got 300 plus, 6 innings, they've got 300 plus scores. So I think Bangladesh would not want to know what they did in their last game at Wankhede. They just want to erase that memory. They'll want to keep the memory of 2019 alive, saying, well, we've beaten this team. But getting to Bangladesh and this big batting lineup that South Africa has, there's this one Mehdi Miraz who can come and trouble them because he's been in great form for some time since the last World Cup. So he's that key to Bangladesh, the Bangladesh bowling card there.
No, absolutely. And I think what you're going to get with Mehdi Hasan is that he is the one player who's regarded as a bright spark in the current team. Also, what they tend to do a lot of is that if they're left-handers and the left-handers are still there, they can toss it to him in the first 10 as well. He's bowled well in the first 10. If De Kock is going and, the fast bowlers are having a bit of a problem, expect Mehdi Hasan to come in and bowl off spin at him. So he is a key bowler. Also, he bowls at different phases for them. He's one of the few, again, other than Shakib, he's the one spinner who they trust they've bowled in the 40th to 50th over as well. So he's their sort of bowler. He's their Mujib kind of bowler for all seasons for them. And he's just vital because he's got them wickets every time.
They've got to find a way of taking wickets though. You see the one game they lost 2 wickets in the power play and then lost wickets very soon in the second power play. You've got to find a way of taking a couple of South African wickets early so that the batting to follow doesn't play with that same sense of freedom and you can get some overs in and that'll be the test of South Africa under pressure. So far they've only been under pressure once chasing that total against Netherlands and they came apart. Otherwise they've not really been under pressure. So I'd like to see Bangladesh pick up a couple of wickets early and then see how South Africa react.
I mean, it's been not the forte for Bangladesh because this World Cup, I think they've had just a really sad power play because they've picked up only 1 wicket in the power play. So if you were talking about South Africa coming under pressure, maybe it's not, well, things can change
like
around.
Hitting that 1-6 in the power play.
Yeah.
It was so hilarious. I was listening to Shoaib Malik talk about this and he said 200 छक्के मारे ना तो फिर हम तालियां बजाएंगे एक छक्के पे तालियां काहे बजा रहे हैं So, but if Bangladesh have to have a chance of winning this game, they have to take wickets in the power play.
Well, it is a tale of contrasting stories there because South Africa has the maximum wickets in the power play with 11 wickets and we see Bangladesh there with just 1, Joyda.
Yeah, look, Shariful, that's what the problem is. Also, Mustafizur, under normal circumstances, Mustafizur will come on first change. Taskin would have been given the new ball and I think he's a better new ball bowler than Mustafizur. Mustafizur is more suited to the first change situation. But they don't have an option right now and I think that's the problem. Also, the way they're going to swing the ball away from the left-hander because they're also left-handers, that early sort of falling onto your feet and getting that LBW, that's not something that's going to happen in this kind of conditions. Swing has not been an offer and remember this has not been a World Cup for left-hand fast bowlers. I mean really Stark has come back a little bit in the last match but Stark, Bolt are they're not the Stark and Bolt we know them to be. So what did we think were the heroes?
And Shaheen is getting wickets in his second and third spells, not in the first.
So Shaheen Shah, Stark, Afridi, Shaheen Shah, Afridi, Bolt, these are the bowlers we expected. Shariful, they are the bowlers, but this hasn't been because there hasn't been that much movement on offer also in the
I like this Hassan Mahmood.
He's a decent bowler.
He's a decent bowler. He's one of 5 Hassans in the team. But I like Hassan Mahmood. Only thing is when they played against India, he was all over. He'd bowl 4 good balls and 2 hittable balls. So if he can be consistent, he's quite a bowler. He's not a bowler to be trifled with. So we'll see how he goes. But I'll keep coming back. Stuck record. They have to take wickets in the power play.
Well, Shariful is someone who has been the pick of the bowlers to them. He's got 5 wickets, but it's just not enough. DK said he is very impressive. He's not playing like what he should be playing. So maybe this is this game where the boy becomes a man, maybe.
Maybe if your name is Sharif, whether you're to our east or to our west, you've got to do well. You've got to come back.
The other thing is, another Sharif is coming back, of course. But one other thing that might suit him here is he's tall, he gets bounce, and Wankhede will give him bounce. The only thing is, the problem with the Wankhede is it's unforgiving of deviations. If you go on the sides and you deviate even a slight bit, if the batsman can open his arms in the Wankhede, it's a death trap for bowlers. So just being able to keep the ball there, you will get that little bit of extra bounce. So bowlers like bowling here, but they're also very cautious about bowling here.
But there is, well, we chatted about this off air as well. You know, South Africa starts off beautifully and then they've got a really solid middle order. And there's Markram there who's got that fastest century in the World Cup. He seems to be in a solid form. So he, you feel, is key to the South African middle order, Harsha?
He is, but they've also got a glue in between, a glue called Rassie van der Dussen. He's like this glue. He won't score at 120 strike rate, but he's a very classy batter. So he's like that number 3, like that Guru Sinha used to be in the Sri Lankan side. He's that classy person who holds everything together. But yes, Markram, the first time you saw Markram, you knew that this was a special player. I couldn't understand when he went through those colossal dips. They made him a captain very early, and then he suddenly went through that dip. But I think he's freed now, and he's leading the side well too. Captain the Sunrisers to victory in the South African 20. That was the Sunrise Eastern Cape. Now he's captain of Sunrisers. He's a very reliable kind of person. So I've been very interested. Yeah, Markram is a big player for them. I also think moving from number 1 or 2 to the middle order has actually worked for him.
Yeah, because he was opening in the previous World
Yes.
Cup. You know, just talking about captains, and I want to go back there because I think one of the huge issues that Bangladesh has had is inconsistent captaincy in the last 3 years.
Inconsistent captains only.
There's captains, yeah. Because you've had, till then, I think Mashraf Murtaza had a really good run.
He was a good captain too.
For 3-4 years, he was and he had the respect of the team. After that, you know, they've just gone all over the place. They tried Tamim. Litton came too fast, then he didn't want to captain.
Then they had Shakib and they didn't have Shakib, and they had Shakib and didn't have Shakib and had Shakib.
And wait, we had Mohammedullah in the middle as well.
And you had Mushfiqur Rahim in between.
So that's one other thing that, you know, so what is it? You know, you say a captain defines a team in many ways of how we're going to play our cricket. You know, a very great example is probably Imran Khan or Virat Kohli in his pump. There's a particular style. This team, you don't know whose team it is.
And Shakib is not going to be captain after the World Cup. He's already said that.
Yes. So
Yeah,
he came in only because he said that, okay, I should do my duty for the country. He didn't want to really captain. So it's a very confusing phase right now for Bangladesh.
So that is also we don't know who made the call. Was it the Prime Minister or the Chief of Selectors?
Because they can't be the player who makes the call, because the Prime Minister will ask you to change your mind.
No, but Joyda, just a little bit more on Markram if we can, because, you know, like you spoke, like Harsha was talking about, from 1 and 2, he's come to number 4. The numbers are doing the talking for Markram, and he's someone who plays at will. You know, you want a controlled innings, you have Markram. You want someone to go and get 100 and those 40 odd balls, there is Markram. So he's that one guy who knows how to really control the pace of an innings.
Absolutely. And I think the big advantage that they have had that they didn't always have before is they have 2 really good players of spin. Markram and Klaasen are really good players of spin. So before, whenever they came to the subcontinent, they'd struggle a little bit because they preferred those faster, bouncier pitches. Now you finally have 2 batsmen who can play in these conditions. And Markram that way is a master at this. Again, both of a very different reason. Markram is a spinner himself. Klaasen also, because he's a keeper, he has that thing of being able to read spinners. And I think they do a very, very good job. Because what happens, what's the template all teams are following right now? You've got your bowlers up front. 11 to 40 is where most matches are being won or lost. Because, you know, either you're being controlled. What's the problem with Pakistan? Your 2 spinners are not being able to control. Harris Rauf is ineffective. That means 11 to 40 for
I love how
Pakistan.
you use the singular. What is the problem with Pakistan?
They wish they had one problem.
But you know, the other thing they have, if Quinton de Kock scores 100, then Klaasen keeps wickets.
Yes.
If Klaasen scores 100, Quinton de Kock keeps wickets, and they've got 2 quality keepers in that top 6. And in Markram, they've got a few overs. It's a fabulous balance.
It's a fabulous balance, and now we're going to go to a fabulous question which is going to come on our screens because it's time for the joy factor question of the day. Joyda is here. Please do the needful, Joyda.
Okay. I mean, this is not something that Bangladesh would like to look at, though it does not involve them.
Have you given
Let
a
me
hint?
say. No, let me say. Which 2 teams play the only World Cup game where 3 members of one particular team outscored the entire opposition team? That means Team A has scored X number of runs. Team B, 3 players have scored more than that. Obviously, they'd been batting first.
Correct. So each of the 3 has scored more than the entire team total.
Yeah, entire team total.
I think you have an idea.
No, obviously it has to be a team that scored very little.
Yeah, I mean,
Batting second.
that is
Team that
not a
scored
giveaway at all.
Yeah. I don't know.
No, leave it there. Leave
Okay.
It. By this time, already 7 answers would have come, knowing the kind of people.
7 answers would have come. So let's not get to this. We'll talk about this when we have our lunch. But let's have a look at the playing 11 again, because South Africa is going to be batting first. They won the toss. Again, I don't know if you're going to expect another 300 plus score today. But Harsha, with Wankhede, with this batting lineup, 300 plus score on the cards?
You have to.
Yes.
You have to. I won't be surprised if we have another 370, 380. If they don't get wickets in the power play, I won't be surprised if we're looking at 375, 380. I'll pitch my tent on 375.
Let's have a look at Bangladesh's. We'll get to the predictions, but we'll have a look at Bangladesh's playing 11 to see if there's someone who's going to take those early wickets, which Harsha is talking about. I really would like to see Shariful do well, but Joyda, any pick?
Yeah, no, Hassan Mahmood. I like Hassan Mahmood. And he'll have a bit of, he'd like bowling to the left-hander.
Okay, so 375, you've already made it. You get another chance if you want to change things around.
Oh, so
you
she
get
thinks
another chance.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Okay. 376.
He's landed on a Laras.
376.
Okay, 376. A small change. Joyda?
I was thinking of going Sobers 365. No, I will go Don Bradman leads 334.
334?
334.
Ooh, that's a little less, don't you think, Wankhede?
I was hoping for you to jump in.
No, I will. I'm going to go with 3.
She might do the other Lara. She might go 400.
Yeah, no, I was wanting to go 400, but I'll go a little less. I'll go 393. So we have 376, 393 and
34.
334.
Which means they'll probably get bowled out for 196 or something.
I think that's the only thing that can stop South
Has anyone seen the
Africa.
pitch report? Has anyone seen
I'm sure that there
Pitch
is
report,
DK's pitch report.
He says a great toss to bat. It's a great pitch to bat on.
So basically, Mumbai Municipal Corporation has made the road outside and the pitch.
Yeah. And I hope they remembered not to put in the potholes.
We'll wait and watch, but you know, if our predictions are this high, Harsha thinks that's the only thing that can get South Africa to crumble, because otherwise they don't seem like they're crumbling at all. We'll wait and watch. We're going to go and have some nice lunch, and we're going to watch a game with, I think, a lot of runs going to be scored today at Wankhede. We will see you at the 15th over point at the Cricbuzz Combox. That's all for now. See you soon.